Yo, what is up, everybody? So we are hitting up on round two. This time we're going to be doing a lot more building with, I guess, strengthening up the frame, getting her looking a little bit more sturdy. A couple little tricks that I've been doing, and going that route. But we're still building the Mini Z. This is the second round or second set in the 30-inch Mini Z built with a bro. So I am recording right now, and we want to go ahead and dig right into it, right where we left off. I'll bring in the wing and get a couple things and get things going. Position so you guys can see. I'm aware everything's a little bit backwards here. I'm doing the camera off the laptop, so. Alright, so we've got our wing fully dried, still got the pins in. What I'm going to do, and we're going to be doing a lot of work on the bottom, so I'm going to grab the top brace or top piece that we saved out and bring that in. You see there's some minor holes here. We might touch those up, but for the most part she's good to go. Checking out straightness of the wing, she looks good. Looks damn good. Alright, so we're going to throw her down. Grab my bottom piece here. Gonna put her down. What I do, I save some of the old foam, but since we're gonna be using these pins quite a bit, I'm just gonna take them, put them back in here. We're gonna be using these pins here in a little while. To put the base down, just taking the pins out. I'm just going to hang on to that, put it off to the side there. Get the bottom set in there. So that's the bottom. Actually, you know what? I need the top piece because I'm going to be working on the bottom. So grab the top piece. That way that the top piece is going to be still laying in that wing bed. That's solid, man. We did a good job there. The next piece that I'm going to get, it comes in the kit, but it's the battery tray that's going to come down. Again, I got my razor with me. This is the battery tray. You can pick what side you want to have on the bottom, inside, outside. I don't think it really matters. I kind of like having this little grippy piece on the inside, so I'll dump it in there. Check it out. So what you want to do here is you want to try to match this thickness, and we're going to cut down this channel all the way around the side here so that we can cut all that out. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come in, take my razor blade. This is where, I've been using this blade a little bit, so I'm going to go ahead and snap off a piece so I got a good nice sharp blade edge. And I try to store all this stuff, but just try to keep those blades separate because they can get kind of sharp and mess a few things up. So I'm just going to come in and I'm just trying to take off just enough that when I put that plate in there, it's going to lay down flat. coming off a little bit deeper than I wanted to, but that's all right. We're going to go back in. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go all the way around it. You get a few pieces that'll pluck out because some of the glue came in and got down in certain spots. I'm gonna go ahead and take, like you can see, the glue's kind of over the little channel here. So I'm just gonna take my blade. Just be careful when you're doing this because that E6000 is a little rubbery. So when it releases, it releases. So you're just plucking this kind of stuff out. Right here again. Pulling this stuff out. Clean up a little bit here and there. So now you should have a little bit of a lip all the way around there. Just clean it all up. So what this is going to do is this is going to lay down inside of here. We're going to take them pins and make sure we get her locked in really good. For right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this with hot glue. A lot of times I'll just put E6000, but what we're going to do is we're going to hot glue it around the edge, and then we're going to go over the top of it, and I'll show you some reinforcing tricks. One thing that I've found that I like to do is those extra little spar pieces. We've got two really good ones right here. I like to embed these right behind where the camera is going to go. So just directly behind here, we're going to embed that guy in there. So what I'll do is I will get that good and level. Take my razor blade. Come through. A good little slit. Again, make sure that she goes in flush, nice and flush. But it's just going to give it a little bit extra brace here. So yeah, that went in really good. So what we're going to do is I'm going to start heating up my hot glue gun. Make a couple things here. And while the hot glue is heating up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start pre-cutting some of the supports that I'm going to have. So again, we got that piece in there. I'm going to go ahead and super glue that in, hit it with a kicker. Super glue kicker. Bed that nose in there. Again, I'm using CA glue. You can pick your brands. I'm not a brand whore. Whatever works for me. I got her embedded in there. Hit with a little activator, she's good to go. Yeah, she's solid. So again, we're going to be going over the top of this with the E6000 here in just a minute. Get a couple tools ready here. Let's see if my hot glue gun is good to go here. Just running a bead of hot glue all the way around this side. A little bit quick when you're doing it, so that glue will set up fast. So make sure that's fully down in there. I'll hold it down a little bit just because there's a little bit of a curvature here. So go ahead and let that thing dry up pretty good. One other thing that I like to do, you know, when I'm laying that spar, I've been doing a few of them, but a way that you can double check and make sure that you've got good clearance where that's at. You take that nose piece and just eyeball about where it's going to be at. So that gives me some clearance there, okay? That's about where she's going to be whenever she's done. Good to go. So now that that's kind of embedded in there, what we're going to do is we're going to grab a pair of scissors. And now we're going to take our drywall tape, find the end here, I had the end last night, there it is, okay. So I'm going to take a piece, and what I want to do is I want to make sure I stay between the servos. What I usually do is I'll cut one piece and then use that as kind of a measuring tool. Okay. So then I'll take some more here, line them up. It doesn't have to be, you know, completely exact, but you want to be as close as you can. And I'm going to make 4 or 5 strips. And then I'm going to show you another little trick that I like to do prior to this, just to get another little bit of reinforcing.
It's your daily pep talk. I know it's been rough going ever since people found out about your acapella group, Mad Harmony, but you will bounce back. I mean,
so there's 3 pieces.
With the name your price tool, it should be you giving me the pep talk. Now get out there, hit that high note, and take Mad Harmony all the way to nationals this year.
I'm going to get one more just for good measure. This stuff is pretty thin, so you know, again, this is going to be your strength, right? So we want to make sure we got plenty of this in here. That should be fine. That's 5 pieces. Might have to do a little bit of trimming. But before I lay those guys down, this is something that's new that I started doing. Is I will take one and I want to put it right down the middle. And knowing that I'm cutting off there, I'm just going to cut it right about where I'm going to be coming in with the nose piece. So that gives a little bit extra grip in there. So now before I get too far, I want to put some E6000 over this reinforcing that I did here. So, what up, Wee?
What's up?
Doing a little reinforcing, man.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, thank you.
So again, I'm putting that reinforcing down, kind of gooping everywhere. It's all right. We're about to goop all that up. So this is just a little reinforcing trick that I do. Again, I'm gonna lay this stuff down smooth. Got a little bit over here, but it's all right. I'm not too worried about it. So I got that guy in. So now I'm gonna take the 4 pieces that I just got done cutting. I'm gonna start laying them. What I usually do, and it doesn't really matter, I try to shingle back. So again, knowing where my nose cone's gonna be, I'm gonna go here, but I'm gonna cut a little piece off of here. And a little piece off of here, just because I want to keep that leading edge clean. So I just take these and I'll start shingling them back. Push them down a little bit. Again, making sure that I'm in between the servos here. I've got a little bit of extra here, so I got 1 extra piece, so I'm just going to lay another piece over the top, probably right in the middle. So I've got good reinforcing there. I don't know if you guys can see that very well in the video. Oh, I got Wee up. You guys probably couldn't see anything that I did. So basically all I did was I take those sheets that I cut before, put them here. I laid one before that across the middle here, just a little extra support on that middle piece. But you can see that the drywall tape it's got a little tacky side to it, so it's holding down. So now this is the part that you want to really lay in some E6000. I'm probably going to use a good amount of whatever's left in that tube. But I'm going to take the E6000 and I'm just going to start gooping it in, working the edges, and then I'm going to pull it into the inside. Again, this is a self-leveling, so getting it in and all the edges and everything else is what you really want to do. So I'm being very, very, very generous on what I'm putting in here. So I'm just going to spread it all out, and that's going to be a solid reinforcing all the way around this base. So just about used all of this white E6000. Of course, I've got some extra clear. Alright, so I've got a pretty good amount on there. I'm going to cap her off. I'm going to take my straight edge. Yeah. So I'm going to work this kind of out the side and then pull it back in. Make sure you got good coverage. Doesn't have to be a thick layer. Just try to get it in all those ports of that mesh that you laid down earlier. This is just something that's worked for me to get it that extra support on the bottom where I think it needs it. Nothing's crash proof, right? But this is going to help you through it. Try to get it as smooth as you possibly can, because when we go back over this with paint, you don't have any big goop marks or anything like that. All right. So now we're going to let that sit, cure for just a little bit. We're going to kind of, what I usually like to do is, really support put a couple T-pins that's holding that base plate in. So I'm laying it at a cross there so that it's pushing down on the actual piece there. So that's just that we did the nose support in here. Then we did the fabric reinforcement on the bottom there. So now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and pull the ailerons out. So we're going to get started on those. So let me grab those real quick. I'm going to kind of push this off to the side. And then we're going to work on the ailerons a little bit. Again, this is on the bottom side of the wing. So this is the bottom piece here. What that glue is doing is it's self-leveling itself down into and all around that mesh. So it's got a good solid support going on there. So here we go, we got the ailerons in. Let me go ahead and smell my hot glue gun heating up. So when you get your ailerons in, there is a up and a down. Say, I mean, they're not directional until you start cutting them. But what I'm looking at, so when that top piece is flat, it creates a little, I don't know if you guys can see that little gap there. That's flat across the top. There's a little gap on the bottom. That's for it to move here. Now, if you see it this way, now I'm laying flat on the top, but there's no gap in here. So when that aileron tries to go down, it's not going to be able to go down. So this is the top, that's the bottom. So they're going to go on. I double checked this several times. That's the top, that's the top. So they're going to go on there like that. What I usually do is I will mark one where I want to have it. So there's several different ways to do an aileron. I kind of have my own little tricks to it, my own little input. But because I know this one is going on that side, so two things that I'm going to look at is this angle coming off. Okay, so I'm going to take a straight edge, and I'm just going to score that right now. I'm going to come back and probably hit that with let me hit that with a marker. Well, now I won't mark it. Anyway, I scored it where I want that angle to be at, so that when it's moving up and down, it's in line with whenever I put the center vert in. And then same thing on the outside. So I'm going to line this up. That's there. And I'm going to take this. I'm going to line it up just about 1/4 of an inch in on that foam there. Again, I'm going to make a straight edge mark where I want that angle. So now, I don't know if you can see it, but that angle is set something around there. And this angle over here is set somewhere around there. So that angle is always pushing that way. This is going to be your inside. So then what I do is I will come in, push this out of the way. And remember, when you use that thick E6000 like that, it's going to take a while to set. I mean, that stuff is still really tacky, so don't, I wouldn't mess with it too much. So what I do here is I will go up 3/4 of an inch. Three-quarters of an inch from this inside corner. And I'm just going to put a little mark there. So then I'm going to come in. They say 8 inches, which makes for pretty long. What I usually do is I'll go 6 inches, is what I like to do, and it gives me a little less control. But with this wing, you don't need a lot of aileron to move. So then now what I'll do is I will take that point that I made at 6 inches, take my straight edge, line it up with the mark I made at 3/4. Right about there. And what I do with my straight edge, I make sure it's all the way up as far as it'll go, because I want this cut to be pretty damn straight. So I'm just going to lightly drag it across here. Just keep on working it. Once I got a pretty good groove cut, I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to start doing the same thing on this groove. Again, I want this to be as straight as I possibly can. So I've got a pretty good groove there. And again, I'm going to look for my line over here. Make this as straight again as I possibly can. Straight up and down is what I'm talking about. Because I don't have a cutting board, what I usually do is I will take my long side of where I need to cut. Since I've already got a pretty good groove, I'll grab a little heavier razor blade. And then I'll make sure that I'm on my ruler here. And then I'm just going to keep on scoring this thing as straight as I can, straight up and down as I can. So that piece will just break off. I've got a good straight edge here. And again, do the same thing here. And you don't need a lot of pressure when you're doing this. You're just lightly coming across it. But again, the trick that I found is when you're setting that first couple cuts, make sure that line is as straight up and down as possible. You don't want to have any kind of like angle here to where that thing is sticking out and there's just a different kind of angle. It's pretty damn straight. So So I'm gonna do the same thing here. Alright, and these are the little pieces that I hang on to, right? That way I can do my little scraping method and all that kind of stuff. So now I've got the aileron. Okay, again, the straight side, this is actually reversed, but okay, so we can do it this way. So just eyeballing it, making sure that I've got a little bit, I've got that 1/4 inch gap right here on the edge. That way I can kind of even that out whenever I'm setting the ailerons, and you've got a good wing surface there. So the cool thing now, so now that I did one, you know, and again, I'm at 6 inches, they say to be at 8 inches. I like to just be a little bit smoother in the flying. You don't need a lot of surface area on the deflection. So, but as long as you get that angle that keeps it from wanting to barrel roll when it's close to the prop. So now I'm going to take this one. Just take the one that you cut. Again, make sure that you've got a left and a right, and you're doing the opposite. So that's straight, so I know I've got my gap on the bottom. Yeah, because if I go that way, yeah, that creates it straight. So it's this way. So what I'll do is I'll just take that, fold it over, and now I'm going to make the exact same cuts on this side, making sure that these are straight. Okay, again, the first few cuts I do, I want to be as straight up and down as I possibly can. So, when I'm doing this, make sure that my razor blade is straight up and down. As I can. Straight up and down. Smooth a little bit, make sure that she's straight up and down. Straight up and down. So now you have your outline going. It's the opposite. So now what I'm going to do is, just to make sure that I've got this good and straight, I'm going to go ahead and straight edge on it. Go all the way up. Make sure I'm straight up and down, all the way down. Get a good couple scores in there. I'm gonna come back in with my little bit heavier duty one, and we're going to finish trimming this guy off. I've got pretty good score lines in there. So set this aside. I'm going to come back in with my heavy. I usually like to do the long side first, but I guess it really doesn't matter. So again, making sure that I'm straight up and down, straight up and down, straight up and down. Push right through that. Straight up and down. See that? I've got a little bit of a break there. That's all right. Just trim that piece off. I got a little notch here. We're going to work on that. Sometimes the balsa wood just wants to do that, so we can work around that. So all right. That little piece came off there. So I'm going to take that off. So now what I'm going to do, making sure that, again, I've got that gap when I hold it flat. I've got that gap on the bottom that allows for that steel to move. You can kind of all see that's flat on this side. That's the bottom. This is going to be the top. Okay. So now I'm just going to look at it. See if there's any major trims that I'm going to need to do. Yeah, so I've got a little bit more up here than I wanted. So I'm going to go in. And obviously you got to trim to the smaller piece, right? So go ahead and take that. Again, trimming it as straight up and down as I possibly can. Yeah, so we're looking pretty straight there. Now what we're going to do is, this is the cool part, a little bit of sanding. Again, all this is drying. So I just use a sanding block. These are foam insert sanding blocks. You pick them up at Home Depot, like $2, $3, whatever. Real fine coarse. I'm not going to be moving a lot of material, but one thing, just make sure that you're lined up. So looking at this, the side you don't want to mess with is the top. So make sure that, okay, so this is going to be my top right here, because I'm going to have that V in the bottom. You can see that opening's in the bottom there. So I'm going to put those two together. What I want is, when I'm done, that edge, I don't want to touch it. I want that to be as crisp and clean, so when I do my hinges, it's a crisp and clean line. All this other stuff, we're going to round this corner, smooth all this stuff out, make sure we're good and level. We'll work on that little corner piece there. You know, and usually, you know, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll just nip that corner off. Matter of fact, that's what I'm going to do. So, and this isn't a exact measurement, right? All you want to do with this is you don't want a, if you crash, you don't want that corner to catch. So all I'm doing is I'm just going to take off that little tiny corner. So now I've got that little corners taken off. So there it is. Again, I've got my tops in the middle there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I'm holding this thing tight and straight. Okay, now I'm going to start sanding it. Again, because we made these cuts and everything, it's just, all you're doing is you're wanting to match these things up. And you can kind of see what I'm doing here, just smoothing that side off. This side, I'm going to have a little bit of work here, so you want to make sure I'm just eyeballing it, trying to get it as straight as I possibly can, even on both sides. see that just one side's a little bit different than the other one. I'm keeping pressure against it, making sure, double checking every once in a while, make sure I'm flat here. Sanding smooth. It actually looks like a pretty decent aileron there. So now what I'm going to do, you can see, I mean, you can't even tell. You know, you shouldn't have an edge. Can't even really see a line or anything. It's a little one there, but that'll be fine. Sand it a little bit more if you want. Get it nice and smooth. Again, by holding this together with the tops in, what it does is it makes sure that that top surface is 100% tight and flat. So that edge, I'm not doing anything to that interior edge. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll this bottom. So I'm going to take my sanding block. Just going to start going to town here. Kind of see a difference there. One side's rolled a little bit, the other side's not. So I'm just sanding, going to town. I want that nice and smooth. Should be pretty smooth there. You guys can see that. Like a pretty good roll there. I'm gonna do the same thing on this side, trying to match it up as close as possible. What you got going on over there, dude? Looks nice and rolled. You guys can see that. Nice roll to it. What I've been doing here lately, so I'm going to clean this up just a little bit here. See a little bit of the dust coming down. But pretty much I'm done with that aileron. Keep it together like that. Set it aside. Clean up some of this. You just take a rag. What I like to do when I'm done too is I just wipe these down a little bit where I've been working on them. Kicks a little bit of that dust off, kind of helps everything stick again. So now you've got your ailerons, you got a smooth roll to it. Nice roll on that side, nice roll on this side. Same thing going on down here. See that nice? Get in the picture here for you guys. Nice little roll to it. See, this one's a little bit less of a roll, so I'm going to go ahead and hit that one more time with the sander. looks better. Again, wipe it off with a rag. Should look a lot better there. Nice roll to it on that top. So what I'm going to do now, that's setting up pretty good. So now we've got our ailerons done. This is a trick I just started doing, but we're going to do a E6000 hinge. So there's a million ways to do these, right? But we're going to go ahead and do the E6000. I'm making sure that I'm on the top piece here. Before I go too far, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put a bead of hot glue down in here. Okay, and then I'm going to go back over this whole cavity with goop. So that's going to make sure that cavity is nice and secure. So we're going to plug my hot glue gun in again. Wee, you doing all right?
Yeah.
Staying out of the hot sun right now?
I'm trying to my mini drive motor reposition it for the boom.
So did you have any tips or tricks or anything on the elevons that you wanted to share?
I normally laminate my elevons before I put that on now. I'm not sure what step they're on right now.
Yeah, so yeah, if you're going to use a tape hinge, you want to laminate these. Now there's pros and there's cons. I just started doing the E6000 or the goop hinges, and I really like them. So for what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and goop hinge it. If you're not going to goop hinge it and you're going to tape it, you would go ahead and laminate your wing, laminate your ailerons. And that would be about at this point, because all we're going to do now is we're just going to put some hot glue, reinforce this cavity here, and everything else just stays the same. What you would do at this point is you would laminate the entire wing, laminate this, but I'm going to do the goop hinges, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint it, and I'm going to show you guys how I tie the lamb, and it actually acts as a secondary hinge where the goop hinge is. But at this point, you know, I'm gonna go ahead and goop hinge these guys, and you know, it's 6 one way, half a dozen the other. I just want to show you guys, you know, my method. Again, if you want to, you know, if you don't want to do the goop hinges, if you want to do laminate, all you would do is you would laminate each one of these hinges and laminate your wing, and then you would tape them and put them on. But I'm going to show you guys how I do my goop hinges, and so I'm digging the way that they turn out. Almost out of glue. Let me grab another glue stick just in case. Hey, Wee, you got any hot glue sticks I can borrow?
Oh yeah. Okay, I'm plenty.
Go ahead and have a celebratory beverage while I'm doing this.
You leave your house door open? You need a box fan.
Yeah, I got my garage door open. It's a lot cooler. I'm still starting to sweat a little bit, but this is Texas, man. This is what we do. All right, so at this point, what I'm going to do, I'm going to try to stay away from, you can see the battery straps. I'm going to try to stay away from those. But I'm going to come in and I'm just going to put hot glue right at the edge. And And don't be afraid to use some hot glue now. I mean, well, I got a little bit coming out because I'm short on this stick. Alright, once you got it in there good, and while it's still hot, what I usually do is you can take those little pieces that we cut off the handle on, you know, the little tail piece or whatever. I just like to make sure that I got that good and covered in there. I'll just kind of work it around a little bit while it lets me. It's starting to set up already. See it stringing out. That way I know I've got a good bond between the battery tray and the wall inside of here. So here, because we put that other spar on the bottom, we're going to go ahead and put another spar up here on the top. Again, I don't throw away anything, right? I just got little rods hanging out. I'm going to drop this spar in here. That's just a little added reinforcement behind the camera. Again, this isn't necessary. This is just something I like to do to help reinforce it a little bit.
The more spars, the better.
It's kind of how I feel. Have any glue come out. There we go. Yeah, I think I mentioned it yesterday, but I've done this before and like no glue was actually coming out. I didn't realize it. Just take our spar, roll it in there. Good and tight, as they say. And what I do here, hit it with that activator again. Let it set for a minute. And now what we're going to do is we're going to goop the inside of the battery bay and go ahead and goop this over too. I'm going to be getting out the clear here in a minute. I'm going to go ahead and do that top piece kind of cool. You got little tips that you can put on there on this guy. We're going to go in with the white over the top of this. Yeah, that super glue's already set. That activator is pretty nice. I'm going to try to save this white to do these hinges. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and goop down this side, this wall. I can all the way around that thing. I'm going to go ahead and take this cap off. Alright, then I'm going to take that piece I cut off, right? Here. We'll go ahead and hit this white first. Make sure that's good down and in there. See any other little holes, you know, you can touch them up. And I'm going to take that and I'm going to run it down the sides here. Get all that goop. Working up the sides all the way down. That whole inside wall you want to have goop. This just adds another level of reinforcing in that bay. So there it is. A little bit coming down there. Should have good piece of coverage in there, good and supported. All right, now we're going to work on the goop hinges. This is a pretty rad process. I really dig it. I'm going to clean this off a little bit. You guys have noticed I haven't cut anything on the spars on the ends or anything like that. I'm not too worried about it. And just melted the foam a little bit. Damn hot glue gun. It got hot. Move a little bit of this stuff out of the way here. Got my ailerons again. And you can see I got a little niche right there. The hot glue gun kind of took it, but it's okay. It's going to be covered by laminate, not everything else. So if I really wanted to, I could probably hit that over with some goop, let it sit over, and it'll hold it flat. I still have the T-pins on the bottom here, just helping that continue to dry and support. That's looking really good. I like the way that's looking. Nice, solid reinforcing here. And this thing is getting, I mean, it is rock solid right now. But we're going to go ahead and get our tape hinge on. So I put them in the wing bed here. again, I've got my flat side. So that's going to be going on there. One thing that I've found here lately is sometimes, alright, yeah, I've got plenty of room, so I'm just going to make sure that these things are hinged right in the middle of this wing surface. They're identical, so we're going to go ahead and do that. So what we're going to do is I'm going to get some tape, set this guy aside here.
Yeah. Huh? Yeah.
This is going to be the last thing that we do today, guys. So appreciate everybody joining. I've kind of been moving fast, but hopefully you guys have been able to keep up. After this, when we get done, you know, we're going to let this thing dry. But when we get done with that, it's just going to be up to the painting. So I'm not going to show you guys how I paint and everything else. I mean, that's for you to figure out and have a lot of fun with. All I'm doing is I'm taking a couple strips off of here. Three strips to be exact per aileron. And we're going to cinch those up. But so after we get these ailerons done, we're going to let it sit. I prefer a good, 8 to 10 hours to make sure that E6000 has gotten in there and done what it needs to do. But that's going to be, up to you and how you want to deal with it. But I'm just gonna let the goop sit. I got goop drying in here. I got goop drying underneath. I'm gonna have these 2 goop hinges, and I'm gonna let those things dry probably overnight. So what I'm going to do is I want to have nice goop hinge as close to this edge as possible. So what I'm doing, you can see there, it's kind of up a little bit, but I'm letting the tag come off. I'm going to go right about the middle. And again, you want to have it as close to this edge as possible. So I'm just going to kind of come off this. You can see there, that's kind of how I have the tape set. That way the goop hinge goes as far over as I possibly can. So here, this is where you're going to want to put this thing on as centered as you possibly can. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get that pushed up against that edge, nice and flush. And then go ahead and put that piece down. Same thing here. Nice and flush. Put that masking tape down. Nice and flush. So that way you've got a nice flush edge right here and right here. So that air is going to fly right over the top of that thing. Just keep her flat. And once you got those pieces in, what you want to do is this is going to kind of create your hinge. So you're going to take a piece of tape. I don't go on, but maybe, I don't know, ½ inch maybe. Put that tape down. There. I'm going to do the same thing down here. And I just try to eyeball it as close to the same as possible. So make sure you got a good bite on both sides. Just lightly pushing that down. I've got the wing a little bit up in the bed so I can use this base down here to kind of hold the bottom of the aileron. So again, making sure that's 100% flush. That's feeling pretty good. Okay, so then this base here is actually going to be our hinge. Nice, smooth, flat hinge. So then I'm going to take my other 3 pieces, doing the same thing on this side, as close to that edge as I can. I go somewhere in the middle here. And it's close to this edge. A good little piece to make sure it's grabbing, that masking tape is grabbing on there. And again, I want this as flat. edge, make sure it's good and flat. Smooth that tape out. Move it over a little bit. Nice and flat is what you want. Nice and smooth right here. Nice and smooth. So that edge is nice and smooth right there. Very, very smooth. Just like that one. Nice and smooth. Come back in again.
Top of the hat. Well, this was to keep the spot out of my eyes, and the hat was to help keep it on tighter, spot out of my eyes.
What's up, Trey? Doing my my E6000 hinges.
Oh, nice. I'm wondering how this went. I just got changing the filter on a minivan.
Yeah?
Yeah, that was fun. No, it wasn't. Trey drives a minivan. I do not. You just said you did. You're fixing it.
Alright.
My sister,
So,
my niece and nephew.
now I've got that area nice lined up. This is really, really, really smooth right here. That transition from the phone to the balsa. So now all I'm going to do is I'm going to take the goop. I'm going to go in here. I'm going to make it really, really thin coat. Really, really thin. Try this white out. I'm almost out of the white. Trying to get her to last here. And it might just have enough. Alright, so once you got that in, back to the old, your balsa wood that you've been using. I like to use a new edge. I'm going to take this, I'm going to start spreading it out. Nice and thin. To add a little bit more there. Don't need to go crazy with this. This is just a nice smooth coat. Add a little bit more.
Roughly. We gotta get in there all deep like.
I'm definitely running out of this stuff. Alright, I hope that's enough. That's about all I'm going to get out of this tube.
If I need to, I can run this to you.
I've got a tube of clear. I'm just trying this white out, just because I want to see how it paints. Yeah, that's looking pretty good right there.
You got flying today? Just flying. If you're gonna main the boom, well, just let me know at time so I can charge up some batteries. Justin and Tom are flying at 3. Oh yeah. Ooh, yeah.
got
So
just
you didn't add
enough.
any weight, did you?
Further forward.
Oh, my battery's already all the way forward.
Oh yeah, that's what your note. That's what it's fun. Didn't you have to cut yours back?
Yeah, well, I put the new nose on.
So I'm making that good and flat and straight, very thin. And that's going to be the goop hinge. We got the goop all inside here. We hot glued it. We've reinforced the nose. We've got pins on the other side that are holding in the bottom where I reinforced it with mesh. And we let her sit for a good little bit. Again, from here is going to be painting. So I'm going to leave that up to you on how you want to paint it, what you want to do. You can paint it all one color. You can do whatever you want to, top, bottom, whatever it is. And then we're going to come back in and we're going to laminate the entire thing, clip off my ends here, and yeah, then after that we're going to be we're going to put the verts in, the winglets. And then we're going to come back in and we're going to start putting electronics in and get her done. So hopefully everybody's been able to follow along, keep up from here. There's going to be a little spell where we're not going to be doing anything right now. So I'm just kind of sitting back and letting the glue dry.
Letting the glue dry.
Watching the glue dry. So looks like we got somebody that joined.
Who else is on?
Oh, Andre! What's up, my man? So when it's at this point with these ailerons on here, I usually don't like to move them. So I'm just kind of checking them. I'm going to let them just sit there and dry out and get good and secure. And then whenever we're done, one little trick, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention, but once these things are dry, what you're going to do is you're going to take your edge of your razor and you're going to outline this tape very, very lightly with that razor blade. And what that's going to do is going to help release that tape so it's not grabbing that glue and pulling the glue off, so your hinge doesn't disappear. I think we're at about beer time.
It's beer 30.
Beer 30. Andre, what's happening, dude?
Maybe come out.
Ah, I gotta add weight.
Yes, I'm sweating like a pig. All right, I think I'm gonna go ahead and stop the recording. But if you guys want to chat or whatever, I'm gonna leave it on for a little while.
Careful.